Arman Tsarukyan finally has an opponent and a date locked in for his next UFC appearance, and the wheels are officially in motion. According to a recent update from his team during an interview with MMA Fighting, the top contender is flying straight out to Las Vegas this Monday to put pen to paper and make the bout official. Arman is making his ambitions clear. He revealed that the contract will be signed on Monday, adding that it's going to be an exciting fight and the perfect opportunity for him. But he's aiming even higher, boldly declaring that by the end of this year, he plans to win 2 fights and leave with 2 championship belts. Now, if you read between the lines, that 2 belts comment points directly at one man, Charles Oliveira. Fans are completely convinced the first belt Arman is targeting is the BMF title currently held by Oliveira, which would set him up perfectly to go after the undisputed lightweight strap right after. Adding even more fuel to this massive fire, Charles's team basically confirmed his return yesterday after one of his team members posted a cryptic Paramount face-off teaser on social media. Luke Thomas broke it all down in a latest appearance. Let's dive in.
Do you just do Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira for this BMF gimmick in the meantime? Or?
The rematch, you mean, yeah? For 300. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, the first fight, people acted like it wasn't fun because Tsarukyan just laid on him, you know? But there were moments in that fight that could be kind of fun. I just think if you're going to do it, the title actually makes sense, or at least a main event role anyway, because there should be 5 rounds. I think the 5 round thing actually is a real big difference from the first one. But under that circumstance for 5 rounds, yeah, I'd tolerate it, sure.
I was just smiling because it's the BMF title, but they're in this weird position where a bunch of the fights aren't really like the BMF fight that they're hoping for. So, anyway, it's just funny to me.
Jon Jones just dropped a massive prediction for the heavyweight division, officially backing Ciryl Gane to defeat Tom Aspinall in their upcoming rematch. According to Jones, the Frenchman should be overflowing with confidence heading into this second fight, pointing out that a lot of fans believe Ciryl was actually winning their first encounter before the controversial ending. But that is not the only news Jones delivered. The former champion just revealed that he is still actively enrolled in the UFC's drug testing pool, keeping the door wide open for a sudden comeback if the right opportunity comes along. And it sounds like he is willing to take one more MMA fight before retiring. Addressing the rumors about a potential clash with undefeated boxing champion Oleksandr Usyk, Jones made it clear that he would only accept the matchup if it takes place under MMA rules. Completely shutting down the idea of stepping into a boxing ring, Jones declared that he is no boxer and that he doesn't consider Usyk to be a complete fighter.
I think Gane's gonna win. I believe Gane's gonna win. I mean, when you become the champion and you beat a man like Alex Pereira, it has to do something for your confidence. And even in Gane's first fight with Tom Aspinall, you know, Tom was looking pretty invincible until Ciryl Gane. Most people feel like Gane was winning that fight. And so I feel like Gane's confidence has to be at an all-time high. Usyk is Usyk, man. He's one of the absolute GOATs of boxing, of heavyweight boxing. I also am aware that he does wrestling, and that wrestling has been a heavy part of his training for many years. It's probably why he's so dominant in the clinch. If he'd like to test his total combat skills, I would oblige him in that. But to handicap myself by only using my hands, I mean, that's not the world that I come from. So out of all of the heavyweight boxers, I do see Usyk having the highest potential and making it competitive.
Khabib Nurmagomedov has just made a shocking proposal to the UFC, suggesting the promotion completely rethink one of the sport's most fundamental rules. In a recent interview, Khabib said he'd like to see the UFC experiment with fights that have no rounds at all. Instead of the traditional 3 5-minute rounds or 5-round title fights, he proposed one continuous 15-minute fight for regular bouts and one uninterrupted 25-minute fight for championship fights. The Eagle believes the UFC should first test the format through exhibition bouts and go from there. According to Khabib, rounds can interrupt a fighter's momentum. He explained that a competitor might come out full of energy and emotion in the opening round, only for that intensity to disappear during the minute-long break before the next round. In his opinion, removing breaks would make fights flow more naturally and reward the better fighter over the full duration. It's one of the boldest ideas Khabib has ever suggested to the UFC. And let's be honest, that's never going to happen in the UFC. Can you imagine, though, if the promotion ever decided to test it, it would completely change the way MMA is fought. Let's dive into what Khabib had to say.
You also talked about how you're not really a fan of the current UFC format. Not that you dislike it, but maybe it has become outdated. Do you think something needs to change? You mentioned that perhaps rounds should be removed.
Sometimes a fighter can completely empty the tank for 5 minutes, then go rest, come back, and he's already in a completely different mindset, you know? A lot of fighters are like that. The fight can change because of that. But again, there are many factors like advertising in between rounds and things like that. This rule has existed for how many years now? More than 30 years. But if we're talking about fairness, I'd say 2 people step in there, let them fight until the end and see who wins. That would be interesting to me. They could even try it with some exhibition or special fights and see how entertaining it would be. I'd personally be interested in that. I still do a lot of wrestling. I continue training, doing wrestling and grappling sparring. And sometimes when I bring in a sparring partner, they say, set a timer. I always tell them, why do you need a timer? We're wrestling. They say, no, set a timer. They always want a timer. I don't set one. We wrestle. I tell them, we're going until the end, either until you get tired or until you submit. We keep going until the end. And they say, no, set a timer.
Dana White has addressed several major UFC storylines, including the future of Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland, the light heavyweight title picture, and Conor McGregor's comeback plans. On the possibility of Chimaev and Strickland running it back, Dana made it clear that fan interest will be the biggest factor. He explained that the UFC always looks at what the audience wants to see, and then make the final decision. Dana also revealed that an interim light heavyweight title fight is a real possibility this year, with champion Carlos Ulberg'c still sidelined due to a knee injury. With the division waiting for clarity, the UFC could look to keep things moving by creating an interim title matchup. Meanwhile, Dana responded to Conor McGregor's comments that his final UFC fight has to be against Max Holloway. White didn't shut the idea down, but said the priority right now is for Conor to recover from his knee injury first before discussing what comes next. Let's dive into what Dana had to say about Chimaev's rematch with Strickland.
Khamzat recently said Sean Strickland is running away from him. So this makes me think, when does a fighter deserve an immediate rematch after losing a title? Do you think it varies case by case? Do you think you should have to have at least a defense, though?
It's a case by case, because one of the big problems that happened in boxing is they would cut these deals where there was a mandatory immediate rematch and things like that. And what if the fight sucks? And what if people don't want to see it? And what if you got dominated? And what if, there's a lot of different variables that determine what's next, because there are so many different options for fights out there.
Yeah.
And the question is, what do the fans want to see? That's always what matters to me.
So it's the same thing with like Ilia Topuria and Gaethje right now, Sean Strickland and Khamzat, obviously. I feel like both of those are in areas where it's like, if you gave an immediate rematch to the guy who lost, I don't think the fans would be necessarily that upset about it.
I agree with you 100%.
But there's also other...
It's and it's a good problem to have.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications to make sure you never miss daily MMA news.